The Vampire King married me for power, yet I can hear what he truly thinks when we're alone. I never thought my wedding day would be the day I discovered I could read minds. Especially not the mind of the most dangerous creature in the realm, my new husband, the Vampire King. My name is Lysandra Vale, and I'm the third daughter of House Vale. Not the heir, not the beauty, not even the talented one. Just, there, a piece on the board waiting to be sacrificed. And that day came 3 weeks ago. You will marry King Draven Thorn, my father announced, not even looking up from his documents. The Night Court has requested an alliance. You leave in the morning. No discussion, no comfort, just a death sentence wrapped in political necessity. My sisters couldn't hide their relief. Finally, some use for you, Celeste, the eldest, had said with a cruel smile. Roslyn, the middle one, just laughed. Even my mother only said, "Try not to embarrass us." The Vampire King, Lord Draven Thorn, 300 years old, rumoured to have killed his last 5 brides. They said he needed human blood to maintain his power, that he drained his wives dry and discarded them like broken toys. I was 22 years old, and I was being sent to die. The journey to the Obsidian Palace took 4 days through dead forests and twisted roads. The carriage was cold, empty except for me. They didn't even send a maid. Why waste the resources on a girl who wouldn't return? When the palace finally appeared through the fog, my breath caught. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. Black towers piercing the perpetual night sky, windows glowing with eerie blue light, gargoyles perched like waiting executioners. The doors opened on their own, no servants, no welcome. Just darkness. I walked through endless hallways, my footsteps echoing against marble floors. The palace was magnificent and empty, like a tomb built for the living. Finally, I reached the throne room. And there he was. King Draven Thorn sat on a throne of black crystal and iron, and he was, not what I expected, young, impossibly young, with sharp, aristocratic features that looked carved from marble. Dark hair fell across his forehead, and his eyes, God's, his eyes were the colour of fresh blood, glowing faintly in the dim light. He wore black armour over dark clothing, every inch the warrior king. Power radiated from him like heat from a forge. He looked at me, and I felt naked under that gaze. Assessed, judged, found wanting. So, his voice was deep, cold, dismissive. House Vale sends me their spare daughter. How utterly predictable. The words strung, but I forced myself to stand straight. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing me cower. I am Lysandra Vale, your majesty. I have come as agreed. He waved his hand dismissively. Yes, the political marriage. Let's be clear about something, girl. You are here for one purpose, to produce an heir, nothing more. Stay out of my way, do as you're told, and you might survive long enough to see your hair turn grey. His cruelty was casual, practiced. This was a king who had long stopped caring about anyone's feelings. I opened my mouth to respond, but then something impossible happened. His voice, but different, echoed in my mind. She's terrified, I can hear her heartbeat from here. Why does that make me feel like a monster? This isn't her fault. She didn't choose this nightmare any more than I did. I froze. What was that? I understand, your majesty, I managed to say. I won't be a burden. He stood towering over me even from across the room. Good, the wedding is tomorrow night. My attendants will prepare you. Don't wander the palace after dark. Not all of my kind have my restraint around human blood. As if I have any restraint. She smells like jasmine and summer rain. 300 years, and I've never wanted to both protect and destroy something so badly. This is going to be a disaster. There it was again, his thoughts clear as day, completely opposite to his spoken words. What kind of magic was this? The wedding ceremony was held in a Gothic chapel lit by floating blue flames. No guests from my family, of course not. Only vampire nobles attended, their red eyes watching me like wolves eyeing prey. An ancient vampire priest bound our wrists together with a silver chain. When it tightened, I felt a sharp sting. A drop of my blood fell onto the chain, sealing the bond with dark magic. With this bond, Draven recited mechanically, I claim you as my queen, my consort, my possession. Your life is mine to protect or end as I see fit. Not exactly romantic vows. But in his mind I heard something different. I swear I'll keep you safe, even from myself, especially from myself. You deserve better than this prison than me. When the priest declared us bound, Draven lifted my hand and pressed a cold kiss to my knuckles. His lips were ice against my skin. Her skin is so warm, so alive, I'd forgotten what warmth felt like. The feast that followed was torture. I sat beside Draven at the high table while vampires drank blood wine from crystal goblets and stared at me like I was dessert. Draven spoke to them in cold, commanding tones, every inch the ruthless king. But in his mind, he was threatening anyone who looked at me too hungrily. If Duke Ravencroft doesn't stop staring, I'll rip his throat out. She's mine, the bond says so. That's the only reason, just the bond. By the time the feast ended, I was exhausted and terrified of what came next. Our chambers were vast: sitting room, study, bathing chamber, and finally, a bedroom dominated by an enormous four-poster bed draped in black silk. "You'll sleep here," Draven said, still not meeting my eyes. "I have other chambers, you won't be disturbed." "You're not staying." The question escaped before I could stop it. His eyes finally met mine, and for a moment I saw something vulnerable flash across his perfect face. "What did you expect?" His voice was harsh. "A traditional wedding night. I'm not some human lordling. I don't want to hurt you. Gods, I want to stay. I want to know everything about you. But if I stay, if I let myself get close, I'll only destroy you. It's what I do. It's all I know how to do." He turned to leave. "Draven." He stopped. I'd never used his name before. "Thank you," I said softly, "for the restraint." He didn't turn around, but I heard his thoughts clearly. How does she know? How does she see right through me? Then he was gone, leaving me alone in the vast chamber. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt an ache of loneliness that surprised me. Over the next few days, I began to understand the cruel duality of my new life. Publicly, Draven was cold, indifferent, barely acknowledging my existence. His words were always clipped, formal, dismissive. But his thoughts told me a completely different story. One afternoon I was in the library, a massive chamber with books from floor to ceiling, some so ancient their pages looked like spiderwebs. I'd always loved reading, it was my only escape back home. I was reaching for a volume on ancient history when I felt his presence. "Be careful with those," he said coldly. "Some are irreplaceable." She looks beautiful surrounded by books, like she belongs here more than I do, like she was meant to fill these empty halls with life. "I'll be careful," I said. "We had a library at home, but nothing like this." "Feel free to use it. It's not as if anyone else does." He started to leave, but I noticed he was favoring his left side. "Are you injured?" "I'm immortal, I don't get injured." "The wound from this morning's border skirmish isn't healing. The curse is getting stronger. I shouldn't have let her see." "Even immortals can be wounded," I said. "I know some healing." "I don't need immortals' remedies. Stay in the palace, Lysandra. Don't ask questions." She noticed. Those clever eyes miss nothing. I can't let her get involved. The curse, the reason I need an heir. If she knew the truth, she'd run. "A curse? What curse is?" That night I couldn't sleep. His thoughts about a curse echoed in my mind. What had he meant? I wrapped myself in a robe and ventured into the hallway. Draven had forbidden me from wandering at night, but I needed answers. The palace was different after dark. Shadows moved on their own. Whispers came from empty rooms, and occasionally I glimpsed figures that vanished when I looked directly at them. I followed my instincts until I found a door I'd never seen before. It was covered in chains and sealed with glowing red runes. "Turn back, little queen," a voice whispered from nowhere. "Some secrets are better left buried." I spun around, but the hallway was empty. When I turned back, Draven stood before the door, his eyes blazing with fury. "I told you not to wander." "I couldn't sleep, I didn't mean." He grabbed my shoulders, not gently. "This isn't a game, Lysandra. There are things in this palace that would tear you apart, things I've locked away, things I've become." "Gods," she's shaking. "I'm scaring her. I'm no better than the monster behind this door." Then tell me, I said quietly, meeting his eyes. Tell me what you're so afraid of. For a moment his mask cracked. I saw exhaustion, loneliness, desperation. You should be afraid of me, not for me. Maybe I'm not as fragile as you think. His hands gentled on my shoulders. His thumb traced an absent pattern on my collarbone, and I felt him warm slightly, as if absorbing my heat. She's not afraid, everyone else is afraid, but she stands here looking at me like I'm still worth something. When did she become so brave? He released me abruptly, stepping back. Go back to your chambers, Lysandra, please. The please surprised us both. I left, but I heard his final thought as I walked away. I'm falling for her. After 300 years of nothing, I'm falling for my own wife, and it's going to destroy us both. Back in my chambers, I sat by the window, looking out at the dark kingdom. Somewhere in this palace was a secret, a curse that bound Draven, a reason he needed an heir, a door that terrified even him. And somehow I could hear his true thoughts, his real feelings, hidden behind walls of ice and cruelty. This marriage was supposed to be my death sentence. Instead, it was beginning to feel like something else entirely. The question was, what? Love, disaster, freedom, doom. I didn't know yet. But I was determined to find out, 3 weeks into my marriage, and I'd become fluent in the language of contradiction. Draven's words, cold, distant, cruel. Draven's thoughts, warm, protective, yearning. It was maddening and fascinating, and heartbreaking all at once. That morning, I was summoned to the throne room by Cashen, Draven's chief advisor, a pale, elegant vampire who looked at me like I was a particularly annoying puzzle. His Majesty requires your presence, he said with false courtesy. I found Draven surrounded by maps and documents, looking more exhausted than usual. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his skin seemed even paler. The Blood Moon Council is demanding to meet you, he said without looking up. You'll need to attend the gathering in 2 weeks. The Blood Moon Council. The vampire noble houses. They'll want to assess whether you're worthy. It's a formality. They'll tear her apart. Lady Morgath especially. She's wanted to be queen for 2 centuries. She'll see Lysandra's mortality as weakness. I understand. I'll prepare. He finally looked at me. They'll try to intimidate you, show fear, and they'll destroy you. Then I won't show fear. Something flickered in his expression, surprise, admiration. That spine of steel, she has no idea how magnificent she is. Her family treated her like nothing, but she's stronger than all of them. Cashen will help you prepare, you're dismissed. But as I turned to leave, he spoke again, quieter. Lysandra, wear silver, it suits you. It was the first real compliment he'd given me aloud. My heart stuttered. That afternoon, I explored the palace gardens, or what passed for gardens in eternal night. Bioluminescent plants created an otherworldly landscape of blues and purples. I was admiring a glowing vine when I heard voices. Still playing house with your mortal bride, a woman's sultry voice. How quaint. I froze, hidden by the hedge maze. My marriage is none of your concern, Morgath. Draven's voice was ice. But it is. We all wonder why you suddenly need a queen after 3 centuries, unless the curse is finally killing you. She knows. How much does she know? Watch yourself, Morgath. I could help you. A vampire heir would be stronger than any half-breed. Send the girl away, marry me instead. I'm not sending her anywhere. The marriage stands. Leave before I remind you why I'm king and you're not. I heard her laugh, cold and cruel, then retreating footsteps. But Draven's thoughts lingered in the air. Morgath is right. Lysandra would be safer away from here, away from the curse, the danger from me. But I can't let her go. For the first time in 3 centuries I feel something, and I'm too selfish to give that up. I waited until he left, my mind racing. Everyone kept mentioning this curse, but what was it? Why did he need an heir? I had to find out. That night, I picked the lock to the restricted section of the library, a skill I'd learned as a lonely child with too much time on my hands. I found what I needed, The Thorn Bloodline, A Complete History. I read by candlelight, my heart pounding. 300 years ago, King Draven Thorn made a bargain with the Shadow Court. In exchange for unmatched power, he accepted a curse. He would never know companionship, never feel warmth, never produce an heir. The curse would slowly drain his life force until he became an empty shell. The only way to break it would be for someone to love the monster I've become, truly, without magic or compulsion. I gasped, dropping the book. Draven stepped from the shadows. I was just looking for answers. I don't blame you. He picked up the book, staring at the page. I was young, arrogant. I wanted power to crush my enemies. The Shadow Court offered it, and I took it without understanding the price. 300 years alone, I whispered. Worse than alone, empty. The curse didn't just prevent love, it drained my ability to feel anything. Joy, anger, sorrow, all of it faded. For the last century I've just been existing. Until you walked in with fear in your eyes and steel in your spine, and suddenly I felt something again. The book says someone has to love you, I said carefully. Is that why you married me? He flinched like I'd struck him. No, that would be too cruel. I married you because I'm dying, Lysandra. The curse is accelerating. In a few months I'll become a mindless monster. I needed an heir before that happens, someone to rule when I'm gone. But I'm human. The Thorn bloodline is powerful enough to transform human blood. Our child would be Dampier, half vampire, half human, strong enough to rule, human enough to feel. The weight of it crashed over me. I wasn't a wife, I was an incubator. So that's all I am to you, I said, voice breaking. A means to an end. Yes, he looked away. I'm sorry, but yes. No, gods, no, you're everything. You make me want to live instead of just exist. But if I tell you that if you love me and the curse doesn't break, I'll destroy you too. I stood, hurt and anger warring in my chest. At least you're honest. Lysandra. No, you've said enough. I understand my purpose now. I'll give you your heir, but don't expect anything else. I left him there, surrounded by books and secrets. I didn't let myself cry until I was back in my chambers. But even through my tears, I heard his thoughts echoing. I'm sorry, you deserve so much better than a dying king and a cursed kingdom, but you're all I have, and I'm too much of a coward to let you go. The next 2 weeks were torture. Draven and I maintained careful distance. He buried himself in preparations for the council. I trained with Cashan on vampire politics. Never show your neck, it's submission, Cashan instructed. And if Lady Morgoth challenges you, meet her eyes. Vampires respect strength. Even in a human. A slight smile, especially in a human. I threw myself into preparation. If I was going to be queen, even temporarily, I would be memorable. But at night, alone, I couldn't stop thinking about Draven, about the loneliness in his eyes, about how his thoughts betrayed his true feelings. Despite my anger, despite everything, I was falling for him. For the monster and the man. I'm such a fool, I thought. He's using me and I'm falling in love anyway. The night before the Blood Moon Council, Draven knocked on my chamber door. He held a black velvet box. For tomorrow, the crown jewels of the Thorn Queens. They've been in storage for 3 centuries. He handed me the box and turned to leave. Draven, wait. He stopped. I understand why you did this, and I'm not angry anymore, but I need you to know something. What? You're not a monster. The curse took your feelings, but it hasn't taken your humanity. You've been kind to me in your own way. That still means something. Please don't be kind, it makes this harder. It makes me hope. Get some rest, tomorrow will be difficult. He left. I opened the box. Inside was the most beautiful crown I'd ever seen, silver wrought into moon phases, set with black diamonds that seemed to hold starlight. A queen's crown, for a girl who'd never been meant to be anything. The Blood Moon Council was held in a massive hall that could hold hundreds of vampires. They came from everywhere, ancient nobles, warrior vampires, scholars radiating power. All staring at me. I walked down the centre aisle in a midnight blue gown, the crown on my head, my hand resting on Draven's arm. He was magnificent in his formal armour. She's magnificent, look at her, head high, no fear. When did I start thinking of her as mine? I present Queen Lysandra Thorne, my wife and consort, Draven announced. Whispers erupted. I felt their judgment, their hunger. Then Lady Morgath stepped forward, beautiful and predatory, with blood-red hair and eyes like frozen fire. Forgive my bluntness, Your Majesty, but the Council has concerns. A human queen, how can a mortal understand our ways? I met her eyes. The same way anyone learns, by listening and respecting the culture I've entered. I may be mortal, Lady Morgath, but I'm not ignorant. She smiled coldly. Pretty words, perhaps a demonstration of worthiness, a test of will. Let's see if your mortal mind can withstand vampire compulsion. Morgath, I forbid, Draven started. I accept, I said. The hall went silent. Draven turned to me, furious. Is she insane? Morgath will destroy her mind. You don't have to prove anything, he said to me alone. Yes, I do, trust me. Something passed between us. Slowly he nodded. Morgath stepped closer, her eyes beginning to glow. Kneel before me, little queen. Show us what you truly are, weak. The pressure hit like a tidal wave, an overwhelming force trying to crash through my mind and force obedience. It felt like drowning in ice. But I thought of my childhood, of being dismissed, underestimated, sent here to die. And I thought of Draven, the man behind the monster, the king who'd forgotten how to feel, who pushed me away to protect me. No. The word rang like a bell. Morgath's eyes widened as I remained standing. I am Lysandra Thorne, Queen of the Night Court. I kneel to no one but my king, and only when I choose. Morgath's power shattered. She stumbled back, shocked. The hall erupted, outrage, surprised approval. But I only looked at Draven. He stared at me like he'd never seen me before. Impossible, she shouldn't have resisted, unless her will is stronger than we thought. My queen, my brave, magnificent queen. Does anyone else wish to challenge my queen? Draven's voice filled the hall. Silence. Then this council is concluded. Later, on a private balcony, Draven finally spoke. That was foolish. Morgath could have broken your mind. But she didn't. He turned to me. How did you resist? I met his blood-red eyes and decided to be honest. I had something worth protecting. What? You? He looked stricken. Me. I stepped closer. I know about the curse, and I know you think you're incapable of feeling, but I hear your thoughts, Draven. He stepped back in shock. What? Since the wedding, every thought you've tried to hide, every time you pushed me away while thinking the opposite, I know the real you. He looked vulnerable for the first time. That's not possible. It's real, Draven, and I know you feel something for me no matter how much you deny it. She knows, she's known all along, and she's still here, still choosing me. Even if I do, his voice broke, it doesn't matter. The curse says someone has to love you, so let me. I reached up, touching his cold cheek. He leaned into it like a man starved. If you love me and it doesn't break the curse, then at least we'll have tried, at least we'll have something real. We stood balanced on the edge of something that could save us or destroy us. Then Draven made his choice. He pulled me into his arms and kissed me. His kiss was tender, desperate, a man who'd forgotten warmth trying to memorize every second. She tastes like hope and everything I thought I'd lost. How can one person make me feel so much after 3 centuries of nothing? When we broke apart, he rested his forehead against mine. I'm going to disappoint you. Then disappoint me, but don't push me away. I don't know how to be someone's husband. Then we'll learn together. He pulled me close, and for the first time since arriving, I felt like I was exactly where I belonged. The days after that kiss changed everything. Draven didn't transform overnight. His walls were too high for that, but he tried. He took meals with me, showed me secret parts of the palace, a conservatory of night-blooming flowers, an armory of ancient weapons, a music room with instruments from across centuries. I used to play, he said, sitting at an ancient piano. Before the curse, now I remember the movements but not why I loved it. Play something. His fingers moved across the keys, creating a haunting melody of loss and longing. I'm playing for her, the notes mean something again. When the last note faded, I saw moisture in his eyes, not quite tears but close. He hadn't cried in 300 years. That was beautiful. I'd forgotten how it felt to create something, to share it with someone who mattered. Our relationship deepened in small moments, dancing in the empty ballroom, his cold hand in mine, me reading to him while he pretended to work, conversations that stretched into early morning. But not everything was peaceful. One night I woke to find Draven gone. I found him on the balcony, staring out with profound pain on his face. Draven, what's wrong? Go back to bed. It's getting worse, the emptiness is spreading. For hours today I felt nothing, not even her presence helped. Talk to me, please. He finally turned. Some days are harder than others. Today I looked at you and felt nothing, like looking at a stranger. The words hurt, but I heard the agony behind them. But you feel something now. Now I feel too much. The curse swings between numbness and overwhelming emotion. I don't know which is worse. What are you feeling right now? He stepped closer. Fear that I'll lose this, that I'll become the empty shell the curse wants and you'll have to watch. I took his hands, always cold, but I'd grown to love even that. Then we fight it together. She says it like it's simple, like love can conquer a curse forged by ancient entities, but maybe that's exactly what makes it possible. He kissed me desperately, a man clinging to his humanity. But our fragile happiness had enemies. Lady Morgath hadn't forgotten her humiliation. She began spreading rumours, whispers that I'd bewitched the king with dark magic. The rumours are gaining traction, Cashan reported. They're calling for an investigation. Let them investigate, I said. They'll find nothing. Vampire investigations aren't gentle, my lady. They'll search your mind. It will be invasive. Draven's fury spiked. No one touches her, I am still king. Your Majesty, if you refuse, it'll fuel the rumours. He's right, but the thought of mages in Lysandra's mind makes me want to burn everything. Then I'll submit, I said. Absolutely not. Draven, we don't have a choice. Your rule is already unstable. We can't give them ammunition. He struggled between duty and love. Finally, fine, but I choose the mage and I'll be present. 3 days later, in a ritual chamber, an ancient vampire named Eldrick examined me. Magic filled the air, making my skin prickle. His consciousness touched mine, walking through my memories. Then he found it, my ability to hear Draven's thoughts. This is extraordinary, Eldrick said, surprised. It's not bewitchment, it's a soul bond. A what? Draven stood. A soul bond, extremely rare. It occurs when two souls are perfectly matched. The bond allows them to share thoughts, emotions, even life force. But she's human. That's what makes it remarkable. Your Majesty, when the Shadow Court cursed you, what exactly did they say? Draven thought back, that I'd have power but never know companionship, never produce an heir or feel warmth until, he stopped, eyes widening. Until I found my other half, I thought it was metaphorical. The Shadow Court deals in specifics. They cursed you never to find your soul bond through normal means, but they created a loophole. If your destined mate found you despite everything, the bond would form anyway. So the arranged marriage. Fate working around the curse. The alliance brought you together, but the bond formed because your souls recognized each other. Draven stared at me with wonder. Soul mates, she was waiting to be born while I suffered for centuries. No wonder I felt drawn to her. The bond is partially formed, Eldrick continued, which is why the Queen hears His Majesty's thoughts, but it's not complete. How do we complete it? Eldrick looked uncomfortable. The bond completes when both souls are fully open. No barriers, no walls, complete trust and love. He didn't say what we both knew. Draven's walls, built over 3 centuries, were preventing the bond from fully forming and breaking the curse. I'll report there's no bewitchment. They can't dispute a soul bond. After Eldrick left, we remained in the chamber. Soul mates, I said. I never believed in such things. Neither did I. Are you disappointed? That fate decided. Disappointed, he cupped my face. You're the best thing that's happened in 300 years. I don't care what brought you, I'm just grateful you're here. His eyes were intense. But I'm terrified. The bond completes with total openness. I've spent centuries building walls. I don't know if I can tear them down. You don't have to do it all at once. But do we have time? The curse is accelerating. What if I run out of time before I can fully open my heart? I squeezed his hand. Whatever happens, we face it together. That night, everything changed. I woke to screaming, battle cries. Draven was already armoring up with supernatural speed. What's happening? We're under attack. The Shadow Court sent in forces. They're unhappy the curse is weakening. But the curse was their entertainment. Now that I might break it, they want to ensure I don't. He strapped on his sword. Stay here, Cashen will guard you. Draven. He kissed me fierce and quick. I love you, I should have said it sooner, but I love you, Lysandra, my queen, my soul. Then he was gone. If I don't survive, at least I felt love one more time. I stood alone, hearing battle echo through the palace. Cashen appeared, my lady, the safe room. No, take me to the battle. His Majesty ordered. I am your queen, take me or I'll find my own way. Something in my tone made him nod. He led me through secret passages to a balcony overlooking the courtyard. Creatures of living shadow fought Draven's guards. In the centre was Draven himself, a whirlwind of deadly grace. But there were too many. He was tiring, the curse sapping his strength. No, I won't lose him, not now. Then I understood. The bond couldn't complete with only Draven opening himself. I had to do the same. Tear down my own walls, the barriers I'd built from years of being dismissed. I had to trust completely, love completely, without fear. I closed my eyes and reached for the bond connecting us. I poured everything into it, every fear, every hope, every moment of love. I love you, I love your strength and vulnerability. I love the king and the man. I choose you, Draven Thorn, in this life and any other. I am yours and you are mine. The bond exploded into completion like a star being born. Light, pure, brilliant light, erupted from me and shot across the courtyard, wrapping around Draven like armor. The shadow creatures shrieked and retreated. And Draven changed. His skin warmed. The emptiness in his eyes was replaced by blazing life. The curse shattered like glass. He looked up at me, and I felt his thoughts merge with mine fully. No barriers, no distance. My love, my soul, my Lysandra. Together, bonded and whole, we drove back the enforcers. The light of our completed bond was poison to them. As the last creature dissolved, Draven appeared beside me. He pulled me into his arms, and for the first time his skin wasn't cold. It was warm, alive. You saved me, you broke the curse. We saved each other, that's what soul mates do. He kissed me as the vampire court watched their king transform from cursed shell to man reborn. The forgotten daughter and the dying king became something new. A love story that would echo through centuries. The morning after the curse broke, the night court saw its first dawn in 300 years. I woke to warmth, Draven's body against mine and golden sunlight streaming through windows. Actual sunlight. Draven the sun. I know when the curse shattered it broke the eternal night. The realm is healing. I turned to look at him and gasped. In daylight I could finally see him truly. Not pale and cold, but with colour in his cheeks, warmth in his skin, crimson eyes sparkling with life. I can feel your warmth, really feel it. I'd forgotten what warmth was. He stood and walked to the window, letting sunlight wash over him. I'm alive, truly alive. After 3 centuries in shadow, I can finally live because of her. What happens now? He turned with a smile. Now we rule together as we always should have. But of course it wasn't that simple. The vampire court was divided. Some celebrated. Others, especially older traditional vampires, saw his transformation as weakness. His Majesty is no longer fully vampire, Lord Marcus argued in council. How can he lead when he's become diluted? I'm stronger now than I've been in centuries, Draven said sharply. The curse was draining my power. Would you like a demonstration? The threat was clear. But Lady Morgath posed the real challenge. The question is succession. You married the human to produce an heir, but now that the curse is broken, surely you see the wisdom in a vampire queen. I spoke before Draven could. I am already queen, bonded to the king by soul and law. That doesn't change. And what heir will you produce? A half-breed. The noble houses will never. Draven stood, voice like thunder. Enough, the soul bond is sacred even among vampires. You will respect my queen or be removed from this court, permanently. Silence fell. His power, no longer drained, filled the room like a physical force. Lysandra saved not just me but this entire realm from darkness. Anyone who challenges her challenges me. Are we clear? Reluctant nods, but I saw calculation in Morgath's eyes. This wasn't over. That night, Draven took me to a tower chamber made entirely of glass. I built this before the curse fully took hold. I used to watch the stars. Then eternal night fell and I couldn't bear to visit. The view was breathtaking. Stars glittered above like diamonds. It's beautiful. He took my hand, looking nervous, an emotion so new to him it looked strange. I wanted to bring you here to ask something, away from everything, just us. He knelt, taking both my hands. I know we're already married, the bonds are official, but I want to ask properly, not as king to political pawn, as Draven to Lysandra. My heart raced. You saw past the monster. You broke an unbreakable curse. You chose me when you had every reason to run. Will you stay? Not because of duty or bonds, but because you want to. Will you be my wife, my partner, my love, for however long we live? Tears blurred my vision. Yes, 1,000 times yes, I choose you, Draven, always. He stood and kissed me, and through our bond I felt his joy, relief, overwhelming love. He pulled out a ring, silver with a stone containing starlight. This was my mother's. She told me to give it to someone who made me believe in love again. I never thought I'd find that person. Draven, you made me feel again. You made me believe I deserved love. This is yours, you're my family now. He slipped it onto my finger. The weight of it, not just physical, but the history, love, promise it represented, settled around my heart. But our peace shattered with a scream. Cashan burst in. Your Majesties, the Shadow Court, they've sent an ambassador. The Queen of Shadows herself demands an audience. Draven's hand tightened on mine. Through the bond I felt his fear for me. The Queen of Shadows, the entity who created the curse, if she decides Lysandra is a threat. Then we meet her together. The Queen of Shadows waited in the throne room. She wasn't terrifying, she was beautiful. A woman made of living darkness, form shifting with every movement. Draven Thorn, you've broken my favourite curse. I'm quite disappointed. Your Majesty, Draven's voice was formal, to what do we owe this visit? I came to meet the mortal who accomplished the impossible. Come closer, girl. Draven moved to block me, but I stepped forward. I am Lysandra Thorn, Queen of the Night Court. I broke the curse because I loved him. It's that simple. She laughed. Love, such a mortal concept, but effective. You've cost me entertainment, little queen. If you've come for revenge... Revenge, no, I'm impressed. The curse was designed to be unbreakable. Finding a loophole shows cleverness I respect. She circled us like a predator. However, there's still payment. Draven made a bargain. He received power for the curse. Now the curse is broken, the bargain is incomplete. What payment? I asked. A service at some point, could be a year, could be a century. I'll ask something of you both, and you won't refuse. Too vague, Draven said. I won't agree to an open debt. Then I can reinstate the curse, perhaps make it stronger, maybe affect your queen too. Through the bond I felt Draven's rage, but also my own certainty. We accept one service to be determined, but it cannot harm our people or realm. Clever girl, adding limitations. Very well. One service when I call, with the caveat it cannot directly harm the Night Court or citizens. Agreed. Draven reluctantly nodded. Agreed. The Shadow Queen smiled, almost human for a moment. Excellent, congratulations on your happiness, Draven. Try not to waste it. She dissolved into shadow and vanished. I don't like this, Draven said. We bought our freedom. Whatever comes, we face it together. He pulled me close. You're braver than I'll ever be. No, I just have something worth being brave for. The following weeks brought transformation. With the curse broken and daylight returned, the kingdom healed. Plants grew. The vampire citizens adapted to natural cycles. It wasn't easy. Older vampires struggled. But under Draven's leadership, with me beside him, the realm slowly transformed. Border territories report successful harvests for the first time in centuries, Cashan reported in council. Trade with human kingdoms is opening, economy stabilizing. Good, any more dissent? Lady Morgath has been quiet, too quiet. She's planning something, I said. My instincts were right. 3 months later, Morgath attacked, not physically but politically. She appeared before the full court with a devastating claim. I have proof the Queen used dark magic to seduce His Majesty. The soul bond was artificially created. Draven stood furious. That's a lie. Eldrick verified the bond. Eldrick was deceived. I have testimony from a Shadow Court informant that the Queen made her own bargain. Murmurs spread. I felt Draven's rage but also uncertainty, not in me but in himself. The curse had left scars. What if she's right? What if the bond was manipulated? His doubt cut deep. Lady Morgath, I stood. You claim I use dark magic. Prove it, right here, right now. I have a mage who can test for manipulation. If you're innocent, submit to examination. A trap, submitting made me look guilty. Refusing confirmed the accusation. I'll do it, but not with your mage, with Eldrick, who's already proven impartial. Lysandra, you don't have to. Yes, I do, not for them, for you. I met his eyes, willing understanding through the bond. Trust me, trust us. Don't let her poison what we have. Eldrick was summoned. He examined the bond itself before the entire court. Finally, he stepped back. The bond is completely natural. No manipulation, no dark arts. It formed organically between souls meant to find each other. Lady Morgath's accusations are baseless. Relief flooded me. Draven felt shame at having doubted. That's impossible, Morgath was desperate. I have proof. You have lies, Draven's voice was ice. I've tolerated your schemes long enough. Lady Morgath, you're stripped of title and lands, banished from the Night Court. If you return, you'll be executed. As guards led her away protesting, Draven addressed the court. Let this be clear. Seraphine broke a curse that plagued us for 3 centuries. She brought back the sun. She saved your king through love and courage, not magic. His voice softened, looking at me. She is my soul mate, my partner, my equal. Disrespecting her disrespects me. Clear. Yes, your majesty. Back in our chambers, Draven pulled me close desperately. I'm sorry for even a second of doubt. The curse left so many insecurities. I know, I felt it, but Draven, doubt is human. It doesn't mean you love me less. I love you more than I thought possible. Sometimes it terrifies me. For 3 centuries I felt nothing, now I feel everything. I cupped his face. Then be overwhelmed, feel it all, that's what being alive means. She's right, feeling even fear, even doubt, is better than emptiness. I'd rather feel too much with her than nothing without her. He kissed me, and through our bond, I felt his love, devotion, absolute commitment. 6 months later, I discovered I was pregnant. When I told Draven, his reaction was everything. A baby, we're having a baby. Yes, are you happy? He lifted and spun me, laughing, pure joy I'd never heard from him. Through the bond, elation, terror, overwhelming love. Happy, I never thought I'd have this, a family, a real family. You deserve this, all of it. He knelt, placing his hand on my stomach. Hello, little one, I'm your father. I promise I'll love you and your mother with everything I am. You'll grow up surrounded by warmth and light, not darkness and curses. Tears streamed down my face. Our child will be so loved. The pregnancy was announced. Celebrations erupted throughout the realm. Even human kingdoms sent congratulations. My family, who'd cast me aside, now clamored for recognition. I ignored them. My real family was here. The birth came on the spring equinox, as sun rose over the kingdom. Labor was long, difficult, but Draven never left, holding my hand, sending strength through our bond. You can do this, you're the strongest person I know. You broke a curse, remember? Finally, a cry filled the chamber. It's a girl, your majesties, a healthy baby girl. They placed her in my arms, tiny, perfect, with Draven's dark hair and my eyes, but something else, faint luminescence to her skin, marking her as unique. She's perfect. Our daughter opened her eyes, one crimson like her father's, one green like mine, and looked directly at us. Through the bond, I felt Draven's heart melt. What should we name her? Aurora, after the dawn. She represents new beginnings for all of us. Aurora Thorn, perfect. As we sat with our daughter between us, I felt the bond expand, not just Draven and me anymore, but including Aurora. 3 souls bound by love. The years that followed were the happiest of my life. Aurora grew quickly, showing abilities from both heritages. She could walk in sunlight without harm, but had vampire strength and speed. Brilliant, curious, stubborn. Draven was an amazing father, patient, loving, devoted. Watching him play with Aurora, teach her to read or fight or play piano, filled me with joy I'd never imagined. Do you ever regret it? Draven asked one evening. Being sent here, the life you could have had. Never. If my family had valued me, I'd have married some human lord, lived a comfortable, empty life. Instead, I got you, this, everything. I'm the one who got everything. You saved me from myself. We saved each other. That's what love does. Through the bond, I felt his agreement, contentment, absolute devotion. When Aurora was 5, the Shadow Queen returned. She appeared in the throne room during court, causing vampires to flee. Draven, Lysandra, time to fulfill your bargain. Draven was immediately protective. Our daughter is not part of my request. Relax, I have no interest in harming your family. My request is simple. What do you want? A lesson, my daughter, yes, I have children, has become arrogant, thinks darkness is the only power. I want her to spend 1 year here learning from you both. Learning that light and dark can coexist, that love isn't weakness. We exchanged glances, surprised. This was far less sinister than feared. That's all, teach your daughter. Don't underestimate the difficulty. She's powerful, stubborn, convinced she knows everything, rather like someone else. She looked pointedly at me. I smiled. We accept, send her and we'll do our best. Excellent, and Lysandra, thank you for proving me wrong about love. You've given me perspective. She vanished. The Shadow Queen's daughter arrived the next week. Nyx was every bit as difficult as promised, but working together, Draven and I taught her the lessons her mother wanted. We showed how the realm thrived with both darkness and light, how vampires and humans coexisted, how love was the strongest magic. By year's end, Nyx transformed from arrogant entity to thoughtful young woman. When the Shadow Queen collected her, even she seemed impressed. Well done, you accomplished what I couldn't. Perhaps there's hope for the younger generation. Thank you, Queen Lysandra, King Draven, Nyx said, for showing me there's more to power than domination. As they departed, Draven pulled me close. We're even now, no more debts, no curses, just us. Just us, our family, our kingdom, our love. For however long we have, speaking of which. He looked nervous. What's wrong? Nothing, it's just, the bond has changed you, made you stronger, more resilient. Our physician believes it's slowing your aging. You might be functionally immortal now. I absorbed this and instead of fear, felt relief. Good, I was dreading leaving you and Aurora behind. If the bond wants to keep me here, I'm not complaining. You're not frightened of living for centuries. Not if I spend them with you. He kissed me, and through the bond, I felt his relief, joy, eternal love. And so, the forgotten daughter who became queen, and the cursed king who learned to love, ruled their kingdom in peace. They raised their daughter to be strong and kind, taught that true power comes from courage to love despite the risk. Years turned to decades, decades to centuries. The night court flourished, a place where light and darkness, vampire and human, magic and mortality coexisted. And through it all, Draven and Lysandra remained bonded, two souls who found each other against impossible odds and chose each other every single day. Lysandra years later. People ask if I regret being sent to marry the Vampire King, if I wish I'd had a choice. I tell them I did have a choice. Every day I chose him, just as he chose me. Love isn't about perfect circumstances. It's about seeing someone's darkness and choosing to bring them light, about being seen for who you truly are and loved anyway. I was the spare daughter, the forgotten one, the political pawn. And I became a queen, a mother, a woman who broke an ancient curse with nothing but stubborn love and relentless hope. They married me for power. But I gave him something far more valuable. I gave him a future, and he gave me the same. In a castle where day and night dance in eternal balance, where a once cursed king rules with warmth instead of cold, where a mortal queen became something more through love's power, their story continues. Not an ending but a beginning. Not a curse but a blessing. Not a political marriage but a love story for the ages.